John strikes again. We're making Jackfruit Mead. John is one of our VIP members, and back when the hurricanes came through and we lost power, our freezer thawed out a bunch of fruit and a bunch of stuff spoiled, and he felt bad about that. So he got us a bunch of shelf-stable fruit that we've been using up as he sent it to us, which is kind of ironic because it could be here for years.
That's right.
But this time he sent us jackfruit.
This is good to 2027, I believe.
And this is 2025 as we're making it. Now, the thing to remember with jackfruit is there's non-ripe and ripe. I'm thinking this is the ripe version.
Yep.
The non-ripe version is not sweet.
Nope.
The ripe version is very sweet. Yep, there's the ripe version. Tell by the smell.
So
I'm gonna dig out a piece so we can try this.
we're gonna split this piece. So he's gonna eat half. I'm gonna eat half.
It's kind of it's a little sweet, but not super sweet. Kind of like a toffee, buttery, which doesn't sound sweet at all. Almost think overripe banana.
Yeah.
Very much like an overripe banana.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is going to be really nice. We've looked up to find out what kind of extra flavors to add to this. So far, I don't want to add a thing. I want to see what this does with honey.
Yep.
As a mead. So this is kind of going to be a build your own adventure.
Right. And honestly, I would suggest that's how you should approach all of your recipes when it comes to homebrew.
Yeah. If you know exactly what you want to make first, it doesn't necessarily come out that way. You get disappointed.
What is that? I mean, really. So go in a direction, then take a taste and see if you need to change that direction. Be open to possibilities. You may come up with something fantastic.
Exactly. So today we're going to be using Golden Harvest honey, which is from North Mountain Supply. And we're using it because, well, we have about 3 pounds here. I want to use 2 pounds because I did a little bit of math earlier. I found out there's about a ½ pound of sugar in this package of jackfruit already. So that would make it like 2 pounds of honey plus a ½ pound of sugar, which is close to a ½ pound of honey. It's a little bit more. It's going to give us somewhere over like a 1.090 or starting gravity. So I'm good with that. And here we go, 2 pounds of honey. We were talking about going with the flow, right? Well, as I started pouring this in, it went really, really fast. So we're going with 2.5 pounds of honey instead of 2 pounds. Let me adjust my note.
All right. So before we get too much further into our process, let's do something that we should have done at the beginning, and that's hydrate our yeast.
Oh, yeah. Why did we not hydrate our yeast? You need just a little bit of water.
A bit.
A little bit more. It's all going in anyway. It doesn't really matter. So yeast hydration is not strictly necessary, but our yeast of choice today is Lalvin QA23, and it actually does say on the package to hydrate this one. Many yeasts say you don't need to. This one suggests it, so we're doing it. Hydration simply means
Proof of life.
a little bit of water. I'm going to do half a packet because we're making a gallon. You know, my rule of thumb, if you've ever seen our show before, up to 3 gallons, we use half a packet. 3 gallons or more, actually over 3 gallons, we use a whole packet. At 3 gallons, it's your call, whichever way you want to go. And I'm just going to fold this up. We're going to put tape on it, stick it in the fridge. We keep all of our yeast in the fridge, by the way. A lot of people don't seem to understand that. I'm just going to give the self-stirring cup here a little swirly swirl. Some always sticks to the sides. I'm sorry, it just does. By the way, every single thing that we have here on the table has been sanitized. And it's been sanitized in
The red bucket of sanitation!
which is literally a red bucket. I believe it's 12 or 15 gallons filled with Star San solution, diluted with water to the manufacturer's suggestion. And what we do is we just take the items, drop them in there, leave them for 2 minutes, and then take them out, let them dry on the towel, which then gets soaked with Star San solution. So we're as clean as we can expect to be. But at this point, we got a bunch of honey in a bucket. That's not so helpful. We need some water.
So the water that we have in our favorite pitcher, which is conveniently marked in measurements both in US and
Metric.
will let us know how much water we're adding to this vessel. And that includes the water that we're using to hydrate our yeast, because that is important as well, as that's going in this bucket.
We're using a 2-gallon bucket for reasons that will be explained in just a moment. But we are also going to be using 104 ounces of water. You can add all the water right now.
That's right.
That's the advantage of using a bucket.
That was going to splash them.
You kind of did.
How?
It splashed. Water hits there and splashes out. That's just the way splashing works. You said how. Yeah, it's one of those days. Okay, so the reason we're using a 2-gallon bucket is this. We are finding, in our wisdom, that when you use a glass container that is only the size of the batch you're making, you have to be really careful about how much you put in there because it starts to erupt.
Primary fermentation is a messy process because the yeasts are multiplying, they're building up lots of gas, they're creating some interesting interactions with the proteins in your must, and they're creating a mess, both in foam and particulate and all sorts of stuff. And it tends to build and build and build and build and build and build, and it may erupt out the top. So if you have more space between your brew and the top of your vessel, then they have more playroom, if you will.
Right.
Less mess and final outcome.
So that's why we work with a 2-gallon bucket to make a 1-gallon batch. If you think about it, it makes a lot of sense.
I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Brian and Derica, you're constantly telling me that headspace is an issue and that oxygenation is a problem. You're right, but you're also wrong because this is primary fermentation. And primary fermentation is when the yeasts are going to build up their colony and they're going to start getting to work to converting those sugars or whatever the proper term is because it's not conversion,
It is conversion.
it's conversion?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. And they're going to be making gas and alcohol. The gas is primarily CO2. There's some other stuff, I'm sure.
About 1 billion other gases.
And CO2 is heavier than oxygen. So it's going to be building up the gas, pushing all the oxygen out, eliminating the problem of oxygenation. It's also going to give, again, plenty of room, like I said, so they can have their party and their messy party as it is without blowing everything out in your airlock.
And I'm mixing this kind of sloppily because we want some air in it to start with. Yeast need that oxygen in the beginning just to build up their colony, but afterwards, you don't want extra oxygen. That's where that CO2 comes into play.
I've actually added to our list of ideas for our podcast, which is the fermentation, if you're not familiar with that channel, where we're going to talk in depth about the lifespan of yeast, because I think lots of people are confused about what yeast is doing at different parts during fermentation.
That's true. They're also suggested just recently, I haven't ordered them yet, glass larger than 1-gallon containers that seem like they might be perfect for the exact situation that we are in right now. That way you can see what's happening in this bucket. You don't have to imagine it. And they're not plastic. But I think I have mixed this thoroughly enough.
All right, time to add the jackfruit.
Now, there's 12 ounces of dried jackfruit here. I'm going to add all 12 ounces.
Now, this is food to live.
Food to live, delicious and healthy.
Which means that they don't add a bunch of crap to it.
No, the actual ingredients of this are organic jackfruit. That's it, which means there's no extra preservatives, there's no sulfites added or anything like that. So this is totally safe to ferment with. If you don't have access to this exact one, which John got it from Amazon, so if you have access to Amazon, you should have access to this one. We'll look for the link and put it in the description. But if you get any other jackfruit, make sure it's ripe jackfruit, otherwise it won't be sweet, and make sure it doesn't have any preservatives or any other chemical additives to it. Otherwise, you won't be getting basically as pure of a product as what we got here.
Depending on the preservatives, it can also inhibit fermentation.
Yeah. Yeast can usually, well, I shouldn't say usually, they can sometimes work through the amount of preservatives that are in things, but to me, that's a stressed yeast, and I'd rather just avoid it if at all possible. All right, I'm just mixing that up a little bit just because I want to. There's no real good reason.
How's our yeast looking?
It's cloudy, and there's some bubbles.
All right.
That's a plus. So at this point, I'm going to add our yeast. You might be thinking, but you didn't take a gravity reading yet. It's okay. There was a couple tablespoons of water here that I want to make sure is included in that reading. Now, our reading will not be completely accurate.
Why will it not be completely accurate, Brian?
Because I know there's about a half pound of sugar in the jackfruit, but I also know that there was some on the outside of the jackfruit. So if I add a half pound to my reading, I'm probably not completely right. So you know what? We're just gonna eyeball it a little bit and not worry about it so much. 2.5 pounds of honey should be somewhere around like 1.085-ish. And then if there's a half pound of sugar in the jackfruit, that should be about 23 more points. So that's something like 1.110. So this is a relatively high gravity must for us. You might say, why are you going so high? And how come there's no other stuff being added? Well, if you really want to use yeast nutrients or go firm for hydrating, feel free to. We actually did a test and we found in our test that it did not make something better than without it for our taste preference. Now, you may feel differently, but for us, that's how we liked it. So that's how we're doing it.
If you prioritize speed over flavor, then please use all those nutrients as possible.
Yeah, because they did make it go faster.
As it will definitely make it go faster.
But here, flavor is king. Also, this is 1.090 right now, and that I'm going to put an estimate jackfruit. Adds about 0.022 or so. So some of it is already included in there, but not a lot apparently, because I'm still thinking we're probably right around that 1.110 starting gravity mark, which that's perfect. That's going to give us, you know, somewhere in the, oh wait, I can find that out. Because if we're at 1.110, if I just spin this around, that puts us to about 14% ABV. I'm cool with that.
Fantastic. I believe we researched that
It's 16%.
25,
so QA 23. So yeah, our yeast can actually go to 16%. We're at 14, which means in theory, this should go completely dry, at which point we'd probably make adjustments and whatever is needed and see where we go from there. But that's later in the video. You got to watch for that.
Right now, we are done with this stage. I need to put a lid on this and our airlock. Let me get those right now.
All right, so we have our lid freshly out of turbos. And I'm just going to turn this because I'm kind of obsessively weird about where the handles are in relation to my airlocks. It's just a thing I do. And I'm going to snap this on because the thing about buckets is you have to remember, if your lid don't snap, your seal is crap. Buckets don't always seal perfectly no matter what you do. And over time, those seals actually get less because plastic just wears out. But it's not a big deal.
So we got a snap on this end. We didn't get a snap on this end, but if I pull slightly on
closed.
this, it is sealed good enough
On there, it's not coming off.
to eliminate fruit flies, which is my primary concern, from infiltrating into this bucket.
Yeah, the main reason for an airlock is to let the gases out, but its other function is to keep fruit flies and bugs out of your brew.
So this is a 3-piece airlock. I filled it to the midway line, and we've inserted that before adding the other parts, because if you put it all together and put it on the lid and then put the lid on, you're probably going to make a mess.
Yeah, it could bubble over. So now that that's on there, here's what's going to happen. Over the next 72 hours or so, the yeast are going to get to work. And what they're going to do is they're going to be creating ethanol and CO2, along with a lot of other stuff. The ethanol we want, the CO2 can go, but it's going to fill this canister and it's going to push its way out. And this should start to go bloop, bloop, bloop. It might go fast, it might go slow, it's hard to say. But when that starts to slow down, probably a couple of weeks, we'll be back to show you what we do next. Okay, what we have here is Schrodinger's mead. And let me explain what I mean by that. This has been sitting for almost 4 weeks, one day shy of 4 weeks. And we added the jackfruit to it, but we didn't actually do anything with it because we moved. So the only agitation this has got was in the trip over here, which was like 2 weeks ago. So.
This might be bad.
Right, but you know, good or bad, doesn't matter. This is a learning channel, so we're gonna show you the truth no matter what. I have not even cracked open the lid yet, but let's take a look inside. Okay, here we go. First time ever looking inside. And what do we see? Are there any eyeballs looking back? Any mold? That's what we're really looking for. It looks really nasty. Like, just because jackfruit is just not the prettiest thing when it's all...
But like all the little residual we see floating on the jackfruit, that's yeast.
Yep, so nothing harmful seems to have happened. Let me get a good smell. Okay, here we go. Oh wow, smells like jackfruit, really. It actually smells quite fresh.
That's surprising.
That is just crazy because it looks like rotting stuff, okay? It really does. But it smells fresh. So what we're gonna do today is take its first reading, which is, it's probably done. But hey, you know, due diligence, you gotta do the thing.
It's actually pretty clear too.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Oh, wow, that's quite clear.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's done, but it is a signal of doneness sometimes. These start to drop out when things are nearing the end, you might say. It's floating.
Okay.
It's pretty low gravity. 0.996. Okay, so at this point we have a choice. Being that we have abused this already and just let it sit on the fruit for longer than it probably should with no agitation, the fruit's given up everything it's gonna give up. So my recommendation at this point is let's rack it because now we've cracked the seal. Any CO2 that was protecting it might not still be there.
I second that opinion.
All right, cool. So we're gonna get the stuff to rack together and be right back. Okay, so since our mead is not spoiled, we can continue forward. And we're just gonna rack it right into a 1 gallon. The sample I'm gonna pour in because if I pour it in there, it's gonna stir up the lees and you know, then you can't rack today, so.
And everything's been sanitized, so we can use that sample rather than discard it.
Exactly. Someone asked why we sanitize measuring equipment. And that was my answer, is so that we can put the samples back. Otherwise you have to throw it away. So I really didn't understand the question because why waste it? You know, there's just no reason. All right, I have the cap on the auto siphon because you saw it's chunky in there. There's just chunks. And I have to admit, I'm really liking starting things in the 2 gallon buckets now because we never have to worry about overflowing or anything like that. The problem is we forget about them because before when they would be very active, you had to keep an eye on it. Now we kind of just, it's fine. So we forget. Nope, there was huge chunks of stuff in there. You need to keep moist. So don't do what we did. Definitely keep your fruit cap moist. And if you don't like the word moist, just keep it wet. Okay, we racked it. We put an airlock back on it. It's going into our laundry room, which is working right now as the fermentation. Don't judge, it's just a thing. And we'll see you in like another week. Okay, so it's been 1 more week. That means we should probably check its gravity just to make sure that nothing changed, even though it almost doesn't matter if it did. And let me explain what that means. We oftentimes tell people, like all the time, tell people to take 2 readings to make sure that it's done. This was at 0.996. I can all but assure you we're going to sweeten this because I don't think either of us is really going to like it at that sweetness level. So if we do that, then we need to stabilize it in some way anyway, and we normally pasteurize. So even if this went down by a couple more points since last time, it really doesn't change much. I mean, it does add to the ABV slightly, but that's not even a crucial thing for us. By the way, have you noticed the color and the clarity on this?
It's a great color. It's a great clarity.
It is really beautiful. 0.996.
Ta-da!
So the next step is we're going to rack this to our pitcher so that we can adjust it to taste. And I'm going to pour the sample right into the pitcher first.
He's pouring it down the side to limit oxidization.
Okay, but before we go any further, got to do something that actually matters very, very little, but we're going to do it anyway because everybody asks. So using the calculator teacher said I would never have handy. It was in my pocket. I am going to calculate the ABV approximately of our brew. So we started at 1.090 with approximately 0.022 of jackfruit. So 1.090 plus 0.022. Let's go with that, okay? I don't normally like to do it this way, but it's an approximation. Don't worry about it. And it ended at 996 or 0.996. That means it chewed through 116 points of gravity or 0.116. We're going to multiply that number by 131.25, which is the magic constant. If you're curious why we don't use 135 anymore, it's because everybody uses 131.25, so we just went with it because we also realized that the extra little bit that it gave didn't really matter. It is more accurate to use other systems, but this is good enough. 15.2%.
Dang.
So I'm going to say after sweetening, we're going to be at like 14.5. So 14.5%. That's hefty. That's pretty good.
That is hefty.
That's hefty. I haven't used that word in a while. All right, so
we're going to need our stool.
which means I got to move everything again.
I know.
We need 2 stools.
can make that happen.
We could make that happen because 2 of these would be great.
All right, so the reason why we're using a stool is so that our destination is lower than our source. We are, of course, using an auto siphon for racking today because that is our preferred method.
There is not a lot of lees in the bottom of this container, but I'm still going to leave the cap on anyway, just because.
I have the end tube of the racking, our auto siphon at the very bottom of the destination pitcher to limit oxidization.
Trying to use the right words here.
Yes.
It's hard.
It
Words, difficult, you know? Okay, so before we make any alterations, we got to know what the base is, what it tastes like. And sometimes when they're really dry, it's not a pleasant experience. So we're doing a small. That is beautiful, though.
If I remember correctly, this wasn't
unpleasant.
an unpleasant experience as we anticipated.
Jackfruit has a really odd sweetness level. It can taste super sweet without.
It smells so funky though.
Does it?
It does.
What does it smell like?
It smells like jackfruit. Jackfruit is weird
Bubblegum.
if you're not used to it.
That's normally what jackfruit smells like. Oh, wow. Kind of smells like BO. It does, doesn't it?
Stop. It's got a funk.
Oh, here you go. I got goosebumps. Okay.
All right. So we're gonna put a shit ton of honey in here.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Oh, let's hope. Wow. I'm spitting. Let's hope adding honey makes this taste okay.
Now, this is the funny thing about this is we actually consume quite a lot of jackfruit.
Immature, unripe.
Right.
I've never had ripe jackfruit.
We eat it savory rather than sweet.
Right.
So
It's going to be interesting.
there might be some flavor notes in there that we're attributing to
Yep.
our savory experiences and going, nope.
Now, here's the thing. We used Golden Harvest honey to make this. We don't have any more Golden Harvest honey left. But I do have Kirkland Wildflower honey. They're both wildflower honeys, so we're using this. And to mask that funkiness, I'm going to use a significant amount.
Yeah.
This is how we sweeten things all the time. We put in a bunch of what we want to sweeten with, and then we taste it, and then we add more if necessary. That was a fairly significant amount.
For those of you who have a song in your head for everything, just know that I am one of you. And there have been multiple times that my brain immediately starts singing a song during this episode.
What song is that?
Well, that recently one was, "This is how we do it." And then there was something before, I can't remember already, but there was another song for that one. And all the time in my head. Normally when we're not recording, I just let them run free, much to Brian's dismay.
Sometimes to my dismay. Other times it's amusing. You do want to mix it thoroughly, because if you don't, one taste might have a lot of honey, one might have none. And then when you put it into bottles or put it back in a fermenter, you're just going to have glops of honey in the bottom of your fermenter. And that's not going to be good.
No.
Your brew should not get sweeter the more bottles you make of it. That didn't work, but you know what I mean. Yes, this table sucks. That's why I'm holding it as I stir it. Because otherwise it shakes back and forth. She's holding it down. This is still temporary. I have it narrowed down to 2 AC companies at this point.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Got some recommendations. All right, time to taste.
Smell better. Yeah, it does smell better.
If you say so.
It smells better. It tastes better too.
Yeah. Doesn't taste good.
I'm thinking this isn't going to be our favorite beverage.
Okay, so what do we want to do?
I don't know.
See, there comes a point that you say, do I waste more honey on it?
Throw the towel.
Or do we just say, we don't like this and move on?
All right.
Because sometimes a year or 2 years of aging can make things taste better. To me, this is almost as weird as molasses wine.
It's not quite that weird to me.
I said almost.
But it does need some significant alterations to make this something that I want to drink.
Everything about the flavor needs to be changed.
But with that said, and because this is how we do it, I'm going to quick pause and Google food to see what flavors we could add to mature jackfruit that would be appropriate. Maybe there's a spice that's going to aid this and make it more palatable.
That's fair. Because here's the thing, we hate to just dump things,
Yeah.
okay? And that's kind of where my head is leaning with this. It's not dangerous. It just, I know I will never want to drink this, ever. I will never drink this.
Fair enough.
Which I don't like to tell people dump things when that's the case. But when you have adding more things that are just going to sit on the shelf for years,
They're eventually just going to get dumped anyway.
doesn't make sense. And that's why I don't even want to put more honey in it
All right.
now. I want to, yeah, we'll do the research. We'll be back in a minute.
Google food to the rescue. There are a lot of things that you can add to a sweet jackfruit dish. They say that it's very versatile. So basically, any tropical fruit, banana, mango, fig, pineapple, some spices, cinnamon, cardamom, ginger, and vanilla. You can also go to coconut, honey, maple syrup, molasses, chocolate, so many things. So what do we have?
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
I looked it up too, and I said, has anyone fermented jackfruit into a mead? And here's what the AI came back with. Yes, many people have done it. Some have even had positive results. I'm not even kidding. That's what it said.
Oh.
Some have had positive. So
Ouch.
based off of what she has here, what I'm getting is we already added the honey flavor. I'm really hesitant to waste any more honey on this. And I know somebody out there is getting very mad at me right now because we always say, don't ever give up. Don't ever dump it. But there comes a point where I don't want to spend more money on something that I don't think either of us is really going to like.
That time it wasn't a song, it was a movie quote.
What was the movie quote?
Never give up, never surrender.
Oh, God. Anyway, so we did look through the spice rack and things, and I found a couple of things. Cardamom pods and crystallized ginger. And I thought, you know, that might work. The crystallized ginger will actually add a little bit more sweetness too, because I think it needs more sweetness, but I don't want to waste more honey on it. And the cardamom is an interesting flavor. So here's the thing. The ripe jackfruit is a very strong flavor. So even the little bit of research we did, it's a very strong flavor. So it has to be kind of dealt with. So we're going to rack this back to a fermenter and we're going to add some of these things in. I don't know exactly how much yet. I'm making this up as I go along.
But we'll let you know as soon as we do.
By the way, we sweetened it to 1.010 with honey. All right, so it's racked into a kombucha fermenter because it's what we had. And
Don't you normally try to crack cardamom?
yeah, I am. Smell that. It does seem like that would be a complementary flavor.
Yeah.
Normally I just do this.
Violence is the answer.
Tear them open. There we go. Got it.
1 cardamom pod.
Cardamom. And I think we're going to do 5. It's a nice round number-ish. It has a round part. There's a flat part too. Yeah, I just break them up a little bit. I don't want to like shred them in a blender or spice mill, but just broken is good. Now, cardamom, I think, is a nice supporting flavor. Oh, that one, oh well. This one was dark.
It's roasty.
It's the goth version. Cardamom is a nice supporting flavor, but I think I want to change the flavor of this, okay? Normally I don't do that when we're doing these kind of augmentations. This time I want to change it into something else. I would rather it taste like ginger and cardamom than jackfruit. This is caramelized ginger. Crystallized.
Crystallized.
Yeah, it's caramelized too. It's like candy.
Yep.
It's really good.
I eat it when I have a headache.
It's quite sweet, but has a very strong ginger flavor. I'm thinking
10. Shit ton?
it's about a half cup. Now, they're going to add some sweetness, but it's also going to add a significant amount of ginger flavor. And that is hopefully how you save something that tasted like crap. So we're gonna let this sit for a week or two, and then we'll be back with hopefully good news. All right, so when we last left this, we had put some stuff in there, ginger and cardamom pods, to hopefully improve the flavor on this, because, well, I wasn't happy with it. I don't like it. Just say that. Actually is beautiful though. Like it's got a nice clarity. The color is wonderful.
That was a face of disappointment right there.
Yep. I think it got worse.
Smells like...
It smells like medicine. It smells too herbal, not great. Taste it.
I have sadness. All right.
We might just be doing its final tasting right now.
Not a fan.
Nope. If you like really herbal tasting meads, you might like this.
It's like molasses adjacent.
Yep. I don't think that the ginger and the cardamom did anything for it. I mean, I can taste them in there, so I know they're there. I know they did something, but I don't think they helped it.
I think this might be a flavor profile for someone. It's just not a flavor profile for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is
That's
sad.
a no for me, dog.
Which is sad. Because this is basically the end of this show.
Of this video.
This video.
Not the show. The show's not going anywhere.
I know.
Yeah, we're gonna put a score on this now, and we're gonna call this one a day.
Yes, so let's go ahead and do our score.
Before we give a score, I want to talk about this for a second. We like to show everything that we do, okay? And I know some people out there are watching this calling us losers right now and all this kind of stuff, but here's the thing. Not everything you try is going to be a huge success. Now, what will we do with this? That's the big question. We may find a way to use it, we may not. There are times that we just say, sorry, this one's a loss. It's just not going to work out. That's why we're not sweetening it more. I mean, I could dump 2 more pounds of honey in here and make it taste okay, but I just wasted 2 more pounds of honey.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's going to make it worthwhile.
The flavor profile that I'm getting is like borderline meaty.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Which-
It's a step above the molasses wine. And
with a bunch of herbs and then...
It's weird. It's just weird.
It's weird.
And I think it's the jackfruit itself just isn't our flavor profile that we prefer. Now, somebody out there may love it, and I've actually seen people ferment with it before.
Those of you who have had a successful young jackfruit brew of any sort, please leave your recipe in the comments below with any taste notes or flavor notes that you have to add to that, because that may really help our viewers who are interested in brewing with jackfruit come up with a better recipe than what this was.
Right. And I'm not going to say we did anything wrong with this, because I don't think we did. I think it's really down to flavor profile and preferences. So that's something to understand. Not every flavor profile is to everyone's taste. And that's why mead has such a wide range. And and it might sound like I'm making excuses. And, you know, to some extent I am, but I'm also trying to explain to new brewers, people who are just getting into the hobby, that not everything tastes good fermented.
Sure.
That's just a thing. Not everything tastes good fermented.
There are many liqueurs and brews that have a strong licorice flavor. Neither Brian nor I like licorice, so it doesn't matter what it is, we're not going to like that beverage, where other people adore it. So it's just our palate.
I had to get it.
Do you have a number?
I do. Right now, you should be seeing our scoring system on the screen. It goes 1 through 10 according to the sheet, but it actually goes 0 through 11. Those are like secret numbers for those things that just ultimately really suck or are really awesome. Are you ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3,
1.
2.5. Wow, you went 1.
I just, like, even the molasses, I know I scored it higher, but that's because I saw a reason to keep it. I thought it'd be a really great marinade. And that Brian
I disagree.
Did not agree with that, so...
Now,
this, I don't see anything that I want to do with this.
And as much as we hate to throw things away, we hate to waste things, this one's probably not going to make it to the bottle.
Nope.
There's just, we make so many things that it's not worth it. Now, if you're making this at home and you have room to store it and you have other fermenters, it might be a good idea to let it sit for a year or two and then check it again.
Yep.
Because people have said very different things. In our case, well, we're kind of a high production show here.
Our shelves are full.
Yeah, we're running out of fermenters. We're running out of bottles.
Right.
And I don't want to have to buy more. We have a whole room full of these things. So to me, it's just not worth keeping around. And that's a hard thing for us to say. And it's not a lesson I like to teach to people. But
we try to be very transparent and very honest on this show. And so this is part of it.
There's a time and a place for everything. And sometimes that place is the kitchen sink, drain, septic system.
Again, if you have made a successful young jackfruit mead, please leave that description in the comments below. And that way we can all learn a positive note from this experiment.
Actually, I got another funny thing you can leave in the comments. If you've made just a horrifically bad tasting brew, leave that in the comments too, so that other people might read it and go, yep, there's one to avoid.
A cautionary tale is just as good as a positive
share in our misery.
That's right.
And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching and have a great day.
Bye-bye.